The Sims 3 World Adventures, it is rather sultry. I feel like it would get cancelled by this generation because it contains 3 different countries which are not normally represented in The Sims. And people would complain about cultural appropriation or something, but do you know what? That was my favourite pack for The Sims 3. It contains so much content, 3 humongous worlds. I mean humongous. Tons of dungeon crawling to do, mysteries, puzzles. If you've played The Sims 4 Jungle Adventure, it's basically the exact same concept where you go into a little dungeon and you mess around with things in order to find treasure, but this one was so much more. Did you know it contained 26 different tombs to explore? And that was why I honestly love the pack so much. I just love exploring around, and you can actually find items that help you in order to do the different tombs, but you get them from the different worlds. So you might have to go to China to get this axe to break some rocks that you have to do all the way in France. Like, it's absolutely great. Egypt was probably the best world in this game. Absolutely cannot be topped, just like me. Unless it was the right guy. The Sims 3 Ambitions, I'd say get it. The Sims 3 Ambitions is comparable to The Sims 4 Get to Work. The pack actually came with 9 careers, which is insane. 8 of which were like live careers. And it also brought self-employment into the game as well. In The Sims 4 Get to Work, we have the retail system, which is rather cool. It is a little bit buggy at the best of times, and the AI is not great. But in The Sims 3, we got a consignment store where you could sell your creations. It's not as good as The Sims 4 Get to Work's retail system. That is definitely the better retail system. Wow, the best Sims retail system is in The Sims 2 Open for Business, but I would say in The Sims 3 Ambitions, the consignment shop retail system was probably the worst, but it was there at least. We also had real estate and property ownership, so you could become business partners and make cash earnings that way. The pack brought in washing machines and tumble dryers into the game, which was cool. Came with various random activities that you could do. For me personally, I just used to love the Ghost Hunter career, but the fact that it literally just came with so many different careers to choose from, and they were all really, really fun. I would say I probably played the most between Ghost Hunter and Firefighter career. It did get a little bit buggy at some times, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't the best performing pack, but for what it's worth, if you want to enhance your Sims 3 gameplay, like, you must get Ambitions. The Sims 3 Late Night, you are sultry. I hope I don't put them all in sultry, that'd be rather boring. So before The Sims 4, The Sims 1, 2, and 3 all had like a sexy pack, a sultry pack. This was The Sims 3's answer to that, like an after dark kind of thing. It basically had a downtown. It came with cities, so this was also like The Sims 3 city pack as well. Not only did it come with cities in the game, it also came with celebrities in the game. So this was a famous pack in The Sims 3. It definitely wasn't as in-depth as The Sims 4 celebrities, but they basically did what celebrities should do, and it was extremely fun. Not only that, the pack came with vampires too, funnily enough. This was an extremely in-depth, well-rounded pack with a lot to it. It also came with a penthouse build tool. One thing I don't really like about The Sims 4 is that you can't really build penthouses or apartments in general, but in The Sims 3 you could. I do really miss that creative freedom. Making apartments is one of my favorite things to do in build mode. Oh, and I forgot to mention as well, it came with butlers. We got like 5 Sims 4 packs in one. That's how ambitious. In fact, all of the Sims 3 packs were so ambitious. It just encompassed everything about living in a big, famous city. It was like a Hollywood pack, and I absolutely loved it. The Sims 3 Generations, do you know what? This is going to really surprise you, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being average. I did a Let's Play of this pack on my channel, and I genuinely did have a lot of fun. It also came with a weddings overhaul, although just like in The Sims 4, weddings in The Sims 3 were rather tragic. It came with a brand new memory system, a pranking and punishment system for teen and child Sims. It came with boarding schools. It came with tons of kids play stuff for all different ages. It came with different kinds of parties, after school clubs. Again, such a huge pack. It's basically like The Sims 4 parenthood and my wedding stories and high school years and growing together and toddler stuff and kids room stuff all rolled into one. And interestingly, it actually came with a romantic reputation system. So if you're a cheat very publicly, people are gonna know about it. The reason why I would just say it's average is because it contained all the fundamentals of what a Generations pack should be, because it was the first ever Generations pack we got. I just wanted a bit more in depth. You know, in The Sims 4, it is a little bit cash grabby the way they spread all the concepts out, but like, you can go to prom in The Sims 4 high school years. You can actually go into school as a teen, which is much better than in The Sims 3 Generations. The Sims 4, we got my wedding stories. about that. Swiftly moving on. I just feel like generations are the foundations of what a family pack should be. I just feel like it wasn't in depth enough to be incredible. But if you're a family player, there's nothing wrong with having an average one. Do you know what I mean? So the Sims 3 pets, I would say it is sultry. In true Sims 3 fashion, this pack basically had everything. Not only did it just have cats and dogs, pets actually had their own wishes and lifetime rewards, which I thought was incredibly fun and in-depth. They even have their own family trees as well, by the way, and horses. Let's not forget bloody horses. Obviously, as the Sims 3 was open world, it was very easy to put horses into the game. They could be mounted and ridden and just used as normal transportation, but they could also be used to enter horse riding competitions, which was cool. It contains small animals, being lizards, turtles, snakes, and birds that you could own, not upsold as a separate stuff pack. It contained 4 new traits. It contained tons of lifetime wishes. It even contained an ice cream truck. Why don't we have ice cream trucks anymore? Not in The Sims, but like in real world. Don't you miss those? I haven't seen one for years. As well as that, we got NPC animals like deer, raccoons, and wild horses. We don't really have NPC animals in The Sims 4 apart from the cottage living pack. We got foxes. I was always confused why The Sims 4 cats and dogs was called cats and dogs and not called pets or animals and just contain a ton of animal stuff. So The Sims 3 pets basically has it all. Absolutely sultry if you like pet gameplay. Okay, so The Sims 3 Showtime, I would say it is Insidious, and I know that's a bit unpopular because I just did a let's play on it. The Sims 3 Showtime comes with an acrobat career, magician career, and a singer career. When I got this pack, I was like, oh my god, I can be a famous singer, but it wasn't really like that. With the pack, you basically become a local performer. So you know, like when you, this is a bit British, but you know when you go down the pub and there's like a karaoke singer singing Evanescence, like that's basically what The Sims 3 Showtime was. All 3 of the careers are basically the exact same thing, like you just perform in the local park or in a local bar or club and you earn a little bit of money from it and you do some basic interactions. It wasn't the best if I'm being brutally honest. It did contain a lot of hobby things to do as well, like random things like golfing that we don't have in The Sims 4. It also came with like karaoke machines, arcade tables, photo booths, like a lot of things that are spread out in The Sims 4. The pack was just very random. I feel like it should have come with The Sims 3 Late Night, and I just don't think it was in depth enough to be like, I really want this pack. Like you don't get it and you don't feel like a famous celebrity or something, like a famous singer. In that sense, it was a bit disjointed, I'm not gonna lie. The Sims 3 Supernatural, you're sultry, no doubt about it. I remember just before this came out, a lot of Simmers were saying like, where are all the occults? We don't have enough, because at that point, the only like main popular occult that we had was vampires in Late Night. So they basically just decided to give us all occults in one, including an update to the vampires to create new kinds of vampires. It came with werewolves, which was really cool. It came with fairies, which are obviously very much loved, and it came with witches too. The Sims 3 Showtime was the pack that had genies, but if you had Supernatural as well, you could create genies in cast. You could also create ghosts in cast with this pack, which you can't do in The Sims 4, and I wish you could do it in The Sims 4. It actually contained quite a lot of cool casts too, and The Sims 3 usually wasn't very good at cast and build by. It contained 4 woohoo spots, a fairy house, a gypsy wagon, a magical wardrobe, and an arboretum. Obviously, the occults in The Sims 3 are not as in-depth as they are in The Sims 4, but they still felt meaningful and alive. Like, it felt fun to play as them. They contain basically everything that you'd want. The Sims 4 added a skill tree system, whereas The Sims 3 just like kind of gave it you all at once. So it's still all of the same very, very cool skills and abilities there. They were very fun to mess around with. I would say the spells as well for the witches in The Sims 3 were a lot more extreme than in The Sims 4, and it is quite fun to torture other Sims around you. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. I was a bit disappointed when The Sims 4 Round with Magic came out and everything was a bit too safe. I like how in The Sims 3 you can really cause havoc. Zombies, you weren't actually able to play as zombies, but zombies actually existed in this pack, and they try to attack Sims and transform other Sims into a zombie. So you can literally have a zombie apocalypse in The Sims 3, and because it's an open world, it was absolute carnage. Absolutely incredible pack. Oh, and Bonehilda came in the pack, guys. What more do you want? So So the Sims 3 seasons pack, do you know what? Any seasons pack, I don't like it. It's cash grabby. Gaslight yourself into thinking it's okay to pay for weather. It's not. It's only lemon flavored vape. I know that's unpopular. The pack was okay, to be fair. It came with most of the basic stuff that the Sims 4 seasons has, such as weather. It has all the different holidays. It also came with seasonal festivals that you can do in the community. I do really miss community stuff from The Sims. It was my favorite thing about The Sims 3, and The Sims 4 has no community gameplay because it's a closed lot system. It almost reminded me back in the day of games like Harvest Moon, when you'd have all the different festivals to enjoy together, and I just think it made it quite special. But at the end of the day, like, a seasons pack shouldn't need to exist. I'm sorry, I know that's unpopular, it just doesn't. So The Sims 3 University Life, I'd say there's nothing wrong with being average. It came with a brand new university sub-neighborhood, and it basically contains all of the fundamentals that a university pack should have. But the reason why I think it's really, really good is that it has a very strong emphasis on the social life of university. Like, to be honest, I find The Sims 4 university living, get university, whatever it is, like, I find that a little bit overwhelming. And that's because there's so much emphasis on studying. Whereas in The Sims 3, it was all just about hanging out with mates at university. And in real life, that is what university is about. That is what I personally did in university anyway. I didn't really care about the coursework or anything. I just liked the social life. It did come with a bowling alley, which was not upsold as a stuff pack, unlike The Sims 4. Came with a comic book store. Came with a coffee shop. I believe it actually came with streaming. I can't remember, but it may have come with streaming. And do you know what the best thing is about this pack? When your Sims go to university, aging will stop in all worlds for everyone. So time will basically stand still. One thing I can't stand about The Sims 4 University is by the time you finish university, you've gone from like a young adult to being an elder, and it's just not realistic. The game just has a very big emphasis on the social life and community, and that's what I love about it. Obviously, it was a lot of rabbit hole experiences, as with the other university packs. Like, I personally feel like Sims University packs in general are not really that in depth and should rather be like a Sims 4 game pack rather than an expansion. That's just my opinion anyway. So the Sims 3 Island Paradise is an interesting one, and my opinion on this has completely changed thanks to the advent of The Sims 4 breaking down. Do you know what? Back in the day, I would have said it's comparable to any lemon flavored vape, or at least Insidious. But do you know what? Now I would say get it. I know that's unpopular. The reason why it's unpopular is because The Sims 3 Island Paradise is a little bit buggy and glitchy. It can cause crashing if you don't have a very good PC. But these days, just an average build PC can perform so much better than a high-end expensive built PC back when this pack was first released. So the pack came with underwater diving, scuba diving. It's not like The Sims 4 where it's like a rabbit hole. Like, you could literally go underwater and swim around underwater, which was just absolutely insane. It came with mermaids. Mermaids are crap in The Sims 3, but they're crap in The Sims 4 too. So I think it's, it's all right. Nothing's beat it, so we can't compare it to anything. It comes with boats. Sims can travel in sea by boats. You can even live on a boat. You can customize your own boat and live on a houseboat. There are sailboats, paddle boats, speedboats as well. It also came with a resort system, so you can run and build your own hotel resort and manage it. You can have resorts that are like high-end big hotels. You could also have little bungalows that you could run. There are so many options, and it's just such an incredible pack. It is so creative. It's something I've been dying for years in The Sims 4. I don't think we'll ever get them, unfortunately, but it would have been nice. And of course, you can just stay at a resort and chill out. Absolutely cracking pack. Do you know what? Am I putting it? It's going in sultry. So The Sims 3 Into the Future. Ooh. Is it Insidious? No, there's nothing wrong with having an average one. As far as I'm aware, this is the final released Sims 3 expansion pack. It was at the time when they basically ran out of ideas and they didn't know what to do. Do you know what, though? It was an alright idea on paper. Basically, there are 3 different futures. There was a dystopian, horrific future, a beautiful future, and just a normal future. And what things you did in your current timeline changed what happened in the future and changed events. It was incredibly well-rounded and in depth, actually. Like, if you create a family and then you travel to the future, the generations ahead of them will exist with the same surname. Like, it was very cool. And the interesting thing is it came with like legacy statues, and you had to build a legacy in the present. And if you built up a high enough reputation and legacy, you'd have a statue built of you for that legacy in the future, and people would idolize you. The pack came with plumb bots, which are basically like servos, but because The Sims 3 was in the official timeline, online. Technically, servos didn't exist then, so they had plum bots, which was slightly different. The reason why I just don't really like the pack that much is it just didn't really come with any gameplay. Like, it was a fun mechanic. It was a fun idea. Like, oh, you can ride jetpacks, you can have a hover car, blah, blah, blah. But it didn't really come with any gameplay. It was just like a fun gimmick. That's all it really was. It was just a gimmick. Do you know what? I am taking it from being average to being any lemon flavor vape. Maybe that's unpopular. I just thought it was a little bit underwhelming. Cool, it's got futuristic skin on it, but like, where's the gameplay? That is the most important thing. So the Sims 3 stuff packs were not really like the Sims 4 stuff packs. It didn't really come with any gameplay. Well, most of them didn't. High-end loft stuff. Do you know what? At the time, the game was crying out for modern things, so I won't hold it against it too much. It's just Insidious, but it just didn't have that much stuff. Fast lane stuff. The game already had enough cars back in the day, so that is any lemon flavored vape. The Sims 3 outdoor living stuff, just as tragic as the Sims 4 patio stuff, going in any lemon flavored vape. Okay, so the town life stuff, I would actually say there's nothing wrong with being average. The pack actually came with a lot of like pre-made venues and community lots to chuck down in your Sims world, so make it feel more alive. It also contained like a lot of new gym stuff as well, and it contained washers and dryers, by the way. It came with a brand new jungle gym object and a sandbox and a lot new library stuff as well. The Sims 3 was all about community, as I said, and it just contains so much stuff for loads of different community lots. The Sims 3 is obviously not as good as the Sims 4 for build mode, but back in the day, this pack was basically the pack for building with because it contains so much nice stuff. It's just, you know, it's a Sims 3 stuff pack. It was overpriced and there was no gameplay, but it's better than the others. Right, the Sims 3 master bedroom stuff, master suite stuff, I'd actually say get this stuff pack. It's basically like a cross between the Sims 4 vintage glamour stuff and that underwear kit that they released earlier this year. The Sims 3 wasn't very well known for having good build buy, but a lot of this pack actually had a lot of nice build buy, and it had a lot of rather sultry looking casts too, and I really like it. I would definitely say the cast was a strong point of this pack. Oh, we've got Katy Perry sweet treats. Well, that's got its own separate category according to this tier list. This was a very strange pack. Was it a stuff pack? Was it an expansion pack? Nobody knows. The pack was very overpriced, that was for sure. It contained with some like random objects and some random casts. It contained 3 new venues, which was a park, a pool, and a hangout place, so it wasn't anything special. It was basically just Katy Perry's California Girls music video, but put into The Sims 3. I'm not really sure what it was. It was very much comparable to The Sims 4 Journey to Batu, like it exists for the sake of being cash grabby and existing. It was eventually rebundled into The Sims 3 Showtime pack to make it a little bit less underwhelming, but it was still just way too overpriced. All right, The Sims 3 Diesel stuff, do you know what? I would say get it. This is one of those Sims collabs that actually went well. I can't think of a single good Sims 4 collab, but in the older Sims games, they weren't as bad at it. The Sims 3 Diesel stuff brought some nice diesel fashion into the game, and unlike Moschino, which actually barely contains any fashion at all, the Sims 3 Diesel stuff was all about fashion. It did come with some build buy, but it mostly came with fashion, and it mostly came with a ton of jeans. And you would think like, oh, a pack that just has jeans, why on earth would I want that? Well, the Diesel jeans, mate. Have you ever worn them before? I don't have any Diesel jeans myself. I think I've got some Calvin Kleins and Tommy Hilfiger ones. They're my only designer ones. Oh, a Hugo Boss ones. Anyway, this pack was actually like a designer collab gone well. The fashion right now looks horrific to today's standards, but back in the day, it was really, really cool. So the Sims 3 70s, 80s, 90s stuff, I'd say it's Insidious, like it didn't need to exist. Like back in those times, a lot of Simmers were obsessed with 70s, 80s, and 90s, and they were crying out for a pack for it, which is why we got it. It was just fashion and decor from all of these different eras. The reason why it's not any lemon flavored vape is because it actually contained a lot of stuff. It literally just had no gameplay, and it just didn't feel like it came with anything of substance. And no, do you know what? I'm being harsh. There's nothing wrong being average. It did contain a lot of cool stuff, all right? That is why I'm putting it up there. It had a lot. So the Sims 3 movie stuff, that was any lemon flavored vape, mate. It was a final release stuff pack for the Sims 4. It wasn't, see, like, you wouldn't think like movie stuff, you think like stuff to create a movie theater, but it was literally just like costumes. Like if you have the Sims 4 Get Famous and that pack comes with loads of random costumes, that's all this pack came with. But like, why would you use these costumes? Like, what are you going to use them for? This pack was basically made for people who make Sims 3 machinimas. You know, it came with like Western cowboy costumes. It came with like horror costumes, like a Jason mask. Came with maybe some like medieval costumes. Like, it was just a costume pack. It wasn't a movie pack, it was a costume pack, and it didn't make any sense. So the Sims 3 store packs, they're actually going in Katy Perry sweet treats because they were all cash grabby, load of rubbish, stupid things. I'm going off my trailer thought. My grammar's wrong. I am dyslexic. That's why I get my grammar wrong. I apologize. Anyway, that is my Sims 3 tier list. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, you might also enjoy this one too. See you in the next one.